just make a very provocative statement right now and say that has led to massive moral confusion. Because depending on what animal species you choose, you can base any morality on it you like.
Do me a favor, watch this clip and stay around to the end because I'm going to tie this all together.
Dr. Lennox, you stated that morality is derived from the Bible. Where do you believe that atheists get their morality, and do you even think that they have a morality?
I didn't say morality is derived from the Bible. What I said was that every human being, whether they believe in God or not, is a moral being made in the image of God. And so therefore atheists, like Christians and anybody else, and people of any faith or none, all have moral concepts. And this is enormously important because research that's been done, and Lewis, in a book that everybody ought to read, that was written in 1940 called The Abolition of Man, in the appendix to it, he points out that all around the world, if you look at different tribes and nations and philosophies, pagan religion, all sorts, you'll find a common core of morality. Respect for the elderly, truth, don't murder, and so on. You'll find variations, how many wives you can have, etc. But there's a core of morality around the place. Now that's exactly what I'd expect to find, and this is the point that Lewis makes, if there is a God who has given each of us a moral compass. Now the Bible refines that and sharpens it, but it doesn't first appear there. And it's very important that nobody goes away with the impression that I'm saying that atheists cannot behave. Indeed, you will discover, even reading the Bible, that sometimes pagans put to shame people who claim to know God. That's because we've got this moral compass. So that's enormously important. We've got that moral ability to judge. And indeed, Jesus, when he made his appeal to the world, he asked people to use their moral judgment on what he did. Was it good or was it not? In other words, his whole attitude to them presupposed that they had got moral concepts that they could use. And I'll add another thing to that, because this is a big topic actually. Dostoevsky famously said, "Jeśli Boga nie, to i wsio pozwolę," which means if God does not exist, everything is permissible. He did not mean that atheists were incapable of behaving morally. What he did mean, though, was this: that there's no rationale, there's no rational justification for morality if God does not exist. Now that's such a big statement. I have hinted at it through this evening, and I've written about it in Gunning for God. But it's a very important thing, because what I was arguing with Dawkins is precisely this, that if you follow naturalism to its logical consequences, you end up without the concepts of morality. And one of the big questions in our civilization, and it's so obvious, is that if you dismiss a transcendent God, you've got to find an alternative source for morality. So where are you going to find it? You're going to find it down here, in here, so to speak. So you're going to either find it in raw biology and genetics or in the social dimension. And I might just make a very provocative statement right now and say that has led to massive moral confusion. Because depending on what animal species you choose, you can base any morality on it you like. And that's the problem. Darwin was a kindly old man with a beard, and he saw ants cooperating, and he said there's a basis for altruism. Spencer saw nature red in tooth and claw and talked about the survival of the fittest. And people have applied both of those systems in morality, as you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a challenge coming out of this question. What is the base for your ethical standards? Where does morality come from? This is a major question that I would address, of course, by referring back to my Christian faith that gives the rational justification. It doesn't give the pure source of morality, because morality is built into us at that basic level by God himself.
If there is no God, morality is relative, meaning we can't collectively stand here and say that what Hitler did was wrong, because to him, it may have been what he believed to be good. But the fact is, we can stand here and together say with authority that Hitler was completely wrong in what he did, because it's a moral inclination that we all share. Think about it this way. If there is a speed limit sign on the road outside of your house that says 50, and it turns out your neighbor put it up, are you breaking the law because you go 51? No, you aren't. But what if that sign was put up by the municipality? Are you breaking the law then if you go 51? Yes, you are, because they have authority to set the laws. If there is a moral law that we all recognize as being wrong, such as the idea that it's bad to harm defenseless children, that is evidence of a moral law giver. And that is yet more evidence for the existence of God.